Hello and welcome to After Effects Tech Desk. Today I want to show how to get this 3D extruded effect inside After Effects without any sort of plugins. It's pretty quick to set up. Definitely has some limitations, but looks not bad, and it reacts to actual lights. So it's kind of a pretty cool thing, and I'll go ahead and show how to get it set up. So let's dive right in. Okay, I'll go ahead and make a new comp, call it whatever we want. So scale that down, get my text tool, and I'm just going to type out something like text. Okay, I've already kind of formatted mine a little bit, but I'm using something fairly bold. Something sort of blocky is going to look really nice. And then you can change colors after the fact, but I think darker on the outside might look best. Although I really think you could switch it around and it wouldn't make too much difference. You can see that we can just grab all these, switch them to check out how that looks. I think it's okay, just maybe want to change up the light there. But you can see it's pretty flexible. So back to setting this up. The main premise of what this uses is we set that in 3D, and really we're just kind of going with the idea that, here, if I parent these both to a 3D null, I'm going to rotate this so you can see. The Z position is pushing that back. So we can create a bunch of copies of this and get that thickness. So a quick way to do that is to use an expression, of course. And first I'm going to go ahead and separate the dimensions. It's easiest to do this way. I'll also reset that. It's easiest to reset the dimensions. You can type an expression that will do it without separating them, but for this purpose I think it's easiest to show it this way. So really you can see that each layer here has a number. 1, 2, if we went on. 4, 5, 6, okay. So what we want to do is use this expression. So you're going to alt-click that stopwatch. You're going to type this layer. Dot. And this is called index. That's all you got to do. So you can see now it's number 2. So if we just duplicate this a bunch of times, now it's 15. And if we rotate this again, you can see we're starting to get some thickness there. Now that's kind of a lot of layers. So the actual trick of this is the Z scale. So if you twirl down your scale on the null that it's attached to, or we could go ahead and pre-comp these if you wanted. Text. And this kind of shows you also, see, we need to zero that out in here. So that's pre-comped. Now we could turn that 3D, but it's still flat. To get that 3D to translate, we need to use this collapse transformation. And if you're not seeing it, you might need to go down and check your modes down here. Okay, so now back to that Z scale trick. I'm going to twirl down scale, and you have 3 dimensions. If you scale just the Z, you can get that thickness. Alright, so now you have that same rotation control. And you can see if you go really close and push it too far, you can start to see those edges. Might be what you're looking for, but if you're going for that sort of thick extruded look, kind of want to keep it pretty simple. And so all I did before for the shadow, really, I had all mine still in one layer, so I didn't bother with any of this. So I'm actually going to go back in here and show you that. And look, see, it translates still. It just, because it's this layer, it doesn't matter. Oh, right. So now, if we went in, get rid of that precon. These are all kind of wacky again. Keep on messing with the orientation. So I want to show you that it works the same way, even if these are attached to a null. There's still the Z scale. And if you see, you can do that. So then what I was getting with how I was getting the floor and the shadow is basically just a regular light and floor setup. So I'll make a 3D floor, turn that. Never can remember which one it is. 90 degrees. Hit P for position, bring that down. And then if we bring in new light, go to new light, we'll go cast shadows, maybe just a parallel light. See, that's starting to affect it. Now, this is not lighting how we want it to. We actually just want the shadow on the floor. I'll name that. Hit UU. Actually, I could just type in material options, and that's what we're looking for, but if you just twirled it, it's in there once you turn it 3D. And the options you want here: cast shadows, accept lights. We don't want to accept lights. We do want to accept shadows. Okay, that's great. That's casting shadows. This is accepting shadows. If we go in and look at these are not casting shadows. That's why we're not seeing much there. And now we could also turn off accept lights. And we can or turn on or off accept shadows. And you might want to do those for the bottom layers, and that's where you can play with this to craft it, the look, and get a bunch of different looks out of the same technique. But the main idea here is that you could also just copy and paste this all the way down, but I actually don't want all of these to cast a shadow. I think it's going to be really just one of them is probably pretty close enough, and then you can save all that calculation. So what I'll actually do is twirl down the next one. So cast shadows off, accept shadows off, accept lights off. And now we can copy this and paste this all the way down. And if we were to play with our light direction, you'll see that text. And in here, we could change the diffusion of the light. in light options. If we had distance, turn off, fall off, if we made it a spot, you can see how that kind of messes with that a little bit, but you do get this sort of blurriness if you wanted that. You can also play with your darkness. And like I said, this text is all live then. You can see this is happening here. That's basically just because the floor is too small. That's why I like to do it with shape layers, because you can just come in and crank that up. And check it out how fast we've got this dynamic 3D text. If you use some other techniques combined, you could really get some interesting looks. Alright, I'm going to keep this one short and leave it at that. If you found this helpful, please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. And if you have any ideas or questions for other videos, drop me a line with those also. I'm always looking for new ideas. Thanks for watching. See you next time.